The Senior PBA Tour is ready to sizzle this summer with 3 high-flying, pin-rocking events coming your way on ESPN in the next month. The legendary players with all the legendary skills. Getting ready to go, match number 1. Mark Roth will be first to go on lane 17. Lane 17 and 18 are in play for our TV final here today from Seattle. The Hall of Famer. Total pin average of over 231. Coming in on the Senior PBA Tour, where he has never won before. Does that surprise you?
Well, it's just his, third or fourth tournament, so it's early in Mark's career. He needs to get off to a good start, build some confidence.
Pin up.
Well, a flat 10 for Mark Roth. Ball didn't quite make it up to the pocket full enough. He'll throw the ball hard and straight to pick up the 10 pin. He switches balls, goes to a ball with a little less surface. Always known as a great spare shooter.
Picks up 10 pin. Got his spare to start out this game today. He had to strike out at the end of match play. His 42nd game of this event here in Seattle to make the TV finals did that. And his opponent today is Ron Winger. Also needed a very good finish at the end of match play. So Brooklyn there and leaves just the 1 pin up.
Yeah, just the 3 pin, Dave. Fortunate. The 10 pin was standing, but the 10 fell out late. Winger should have no problem shooting at the 3 pin spare. Yeah, he makes the 3 pin without any problem. Our lane conditions this week: the surface is synthetic. The lane oil 32 feet up to 39. The pattern is what's called the double tree. The red indicates the oil being applied down the lane, and the blue is the oil coming back toward the foul line.
Goes a little high there.
Almost a copy of his first shot, only this time instead of just the 3 pin, he leaves a 3, 6, 9, and 10. Very difficult, as you can take a look at his form. Pushes the ball away late, shoulder high backswing, pretty good knee bend. Didn't quite get the ball projected down the lane far enough. I think that's what his problem was in that shot, Dave.
This week an average of 219.72. That's the total pinfall coming into the championship round. Hot to pick up, nails the 10 pin and gets his spare.
And he's happy to have that out of the way, because that is a tough spare. Lots of ways to miss it.
I'll show it to you sometime. The spare, not anything else.
Roth really crams his hand into the ball.
Pocket, first strike of this match. Wears quite a bit of tape on that right thumb. I see him working on that in practice.
Yeah, he puts actually it's like a new skin product that keeps it to the thumb protect. As we take a look at some of his highlights, back in 1978 he only won 8 tournaments. That's not so bad. Chance to put a lot of heat on Winger with a strike here in the 3rd. Give him a double.
Goes the 4. He's got the double. Back-to-back strikes here early in this game, head-to-head with Ron Winger.
Yeah, that'll make him smile. See Mark's ball starting around the 17 board, swinging out to about 11. Comes in a little bit high. 4 pin just at the last minute, and that's got to make him real happy.
So from Tarzana, California, Winger back up. More time he's high, although the 10 goes down.
Well, I'm sure he's trying to make the adjustments, but it's not working for him right now, Dave. His ball is coming in high, 3 shots in a row. Now he leaves himself with a 3 and the 6, which is certainly easier than the last spare he had to contend with, but still chance to miss this as well.
15th in his career. Senior TV appearances, picks up the 3-6 spare. His first TV appearance of this 2001 senior season.
It must be away.
He's got the 4th best all-time senior TV show score, 280.
Needs to get the ball further down the lane, keep it from hooking into the head pin. I think he'll probably move a little left on this shot. Oh, and he has. Proper adjustment, good reaction. All the pins fell over. So important to be lined up properly. You can execute the shot as perfectly as possible. If you're not lined up right, it won't help. Watch as this ball just splashes the pins out.
The adjustment he wanted. Can Roth keep his roll going? Goes up.
Both players coming in high. The lane oil, when they bowl, the balls actually push the lane oil down the lane, and so they rise up the front of the lane, and they have to keep making adjustments to the left.
Picks up the easy spare. Still no open frames in our first head-to-head matchup.
Well, there's my top 5, and Mark Roth certainly there, along with Dick Weber, Don Johnson, Pete Weber. So a father and son routine there, and Walter Ray Williams Jr., the dominant player of the 90s.
Seven stays up, good pin action, but unable to carry. And again, he'll go for a spare.
Now, threw a lot of pins in front of the 7 pin, but it wasn't to be. Roth sort of giving a quizzical look at the pins right now, as if to say, come on, I threw that ball good enough. That should have struck.
We talked to him today. He didn't feel he had a disadvantage having to come from the 5th seed. Done that, but as you mentioned, in his heyday of the 70s and early 80s, he didn't have to. He was always the #1 seed heading to the last TV day.
It seemed like most of the time he was up there either 1st or 2nd seeded. Roth right now with a 14-pin advantage.
Back to our 5th seed. 10-pin stays.
Yeah, the messenger tried to get over there and get the 10-pin out, but didn't happen. No better than a spare for Winger in the 5th frame, and the lead remained the same. You can see the ball coming in late. Messenger coming over, falls into the channel.
Ron Winger does pick up a spare, the 10-pin.
Scores.
3 times a senior PBA champ, last time in '98.
Scores a little lower this week, and one of the main reasons was it was very difficult to get yourself lined up to hit the pocket and to carry as well. You know, it was if you could hit the pocket at the right angle, then you can get them all down, but it was very difficult to get your ball just right. You see the guys fishing a little bit out here. Ah, but not there for Winger.
Good start for Mark Roth. 2nd and 3rd frame, able to get a double. He's got the advantage. First match of the day here from Seattle, Washington. Winger, an 11-pin deficit. Makes up some ground.
Well, he sets himself up for the 9th frame with that strike in the 8th. Get a chance to get closer to the match. Roth working on a strike in the 7th frame. He can make it that much tougher if he strikes here for Ron Winger.
Hall of Fame inductee, 1987. What a regular PBA tour career he had with the 34 championships. Says he still has plenty of hunger now that he's entered the senior ranks and gone over 50 years of age.
Well, you can take a look at the 5 players and all the national titles they've won. And Neffs has a few, and Chamberlain a couple, and Mark Roth with the mother load. And I witnessed most of those 34. Some at my expense.
Unfortunately for you, not so much for Mark.
Oh, Mark putting the heat on in the 9th frame with a beautiful strike. Really puts Winger in a position where he must strike.
What kind of ball was that?
The classic form of Mark Roth. 17 board out to about 11. Right back flush in the pocket. How I remember watching that.
Desperate times here for Ron Winger. He must put some strikes together in a hurry.
Boy, that ball came from nowhere.
Columbia ball.
Winger making comment on the make of the ball. So apparently it was the ball that did it. It wasn't Ron.
It seemed like it was going to miss the pocket last moment. A lot of spin to it. Found the range for the strike. Maximum score of 224. He's down 21 pins right now.
And if he were to strike out, there's a good possibility of a tie. Clutch strike. 8-pin, the last to fall. Beautiful delivery for Winger. Keeping the pressure on. Watch the 8-pin. It'll be the last pin to fall, as the ball just barely grazes it. Yeah, that's supposed to strike.
His best senior PBA tour finished this year 4th at the stadium in Reno. Wants to improve on that here today in Seattle.
Got a hold.
Way high. 10 goes down late.
And he leaves the 3 and the 6. That'll have to be respotted. The machine did not pick up the 6-pin, but it was standing. They're taking care of that in the back. They have to actually reset the whole machine and then just leave the 3 and the 6, and we've got it settled. Mechanics in the back doing a good job. Spare for 212.
Thank you. Thank you.
Roth needs a mark in the 10th frame. If we were to get 9 on the first ball and then miss it, that would be 212. But I know the best kind of mark, when you need a mark in the 10th, the best way to do it is just get the strike and get it over with.
Does he have the range?
Oh, fortunate. Ball came in very late, and there were a lot of 2-8-10s left this week where the ball comes in light in the pocket at a deep angle and leaves a wide open split. So Roth lucky just to leave the 8-pin. He makes it. He goes on to the next match. He misses it. We go into extra frames.
Broke a string of 3 straight strikes. Down goes the 8.
Mark having a little trouble with the approaches this week. In fact, he got a new pair of shoes that slide a lot more and still sticking just a little bit once in a while, but he's the winner of match 1. That'll give him some confidence going into the next one.
The senior tour so far is a 5th place finish last month in Syracuse. He moves up the ladder. The Hall of Famer getting one step closer.
Here at our
There in Seattle, Mount Rainier not far. Always in the thoughts of the folks from here in Washington. Just a gorgeous day today for the most part. A little cool temperatures, but great to see that sun. Things shining right along for Roth as he's got 4 strikes in his 2nd match after an impressive outing against Ron Winger. Can he keep the roll going?
Well, he looks confident right now. You know, Mark is very, very easy to read. He looks very relaxed right now. Look, he's smiling. And you know, Mark, don't you realize this is an important shot? Well, here he goes. He's concentrating now. 39 pins.
Clutch, as you see with that graphic.
No, 7-10. And what a bad break for Roth. Just a terrible, terrible break for Roth. You can see the spare maker there. You know, the only way to make this is to bounce the 10 into the back and then kick it back into the 7 pin. I saw Mark Roth do this in Alameda in 1980. Can history repeat itself? No, it'll be a 9 count, and what looked like a chance to extend to 3 strikes in a row now becomes an open frame for Mark Roth, and Harsinena right back in it. There's a look of concern, and I don't blame him.
So the confidence turns to a little bit of concern with the open frame from Mark Roth. In Alameda back in 80, talking about that 7-10, first of 3 bowlers to convert. 7-10 split on national TV as well. So everyone got to see some history.
Stuck at the line and left the soft 10. It's so difficult when you're having problems with your slide, and as Mark Roth is right now. Take a look at the slide. It's just a stick. You can see that the leverage is all gone. Fortunately, he keeps himself behind the foul line, or that really could have been disastrous. Had the ball on a good line, but certainly wasn't able to get any good leverage or power on the ball.
Picks up 10 and he's got a spare, but has an open frame in this game. That could come back to hurt him. All the latest PBA information just a mouse click away at PBA.com. It's your site for the latest stories, player bios, stats up to the minute tournament standings, like our event here in Seattle today. Here comes Brooklyn for a strike.
And that, you know, that can be very frustrating for any kind of player. I know that Mark just threw a great shot on the right-hand lane, left the 7-10 split with a pocket shot, and then Harsinena makes the error, goes all the way to the Brooklyn side, and throws a strike. So funny things in this game. And almost a 7-10 for Harsinena.
The all-time senior wins we told you about. Harsinena's tie with the legend Earl Anthony, 7 apiece. John had to guard at 14. That is a big number.
Now Harsinena certainly a proven winner out here. He's hooking the ball more today than I thought he would. He told me earlier that the key to him bowling well this week for Harsinena was throwing the ball harder and straighter. You see Mark Roth on lane 18. This is the one that gave him that trouble with the 7-10 last time. Really not much of adjustment to be made. Just keep making good shots. But he turned it harder. The ball was jumping right off his hand. As soon as he let the ball down, it had already started hooking through the heads.
This match really tightening. 2-pin lead for Roth. He's got a best chance score of 222 to pick up there.
Yeah, he had a problem with that spare in the last game. Got lucky to make it. This time he puts it right where he's supposed to, between the 3 and the 6. Mark eyeing the scoreboard. He knows exactly what the situation is. If he strikes here in the 9th frame, he controls his fate. Max score 222 for Roth. Max for 220 for Harsinena.
His theme to us today, don't worry about the tough mental aspects. Just go out and bowl. He's got a bowl. A big one. It does. Looked like it may have been coming high and out of the pocket, but he's got them all in the pit.
Well, that loose look that Mark had 5-6 minutes ago is gone. He's definitely not locked in. But neither is this man. This last time crossed over for the Brooklyn strike. That's better.
To the 10th frame now for Harsinena, 63 years old, from Franklin, Pennsylvania. We talked about all of his wins and how he ranks among the legends.
Well, he really worked on that one. He just tried to overpower the lanes with his muscle instead of letting the ball pick up a good roll down the lane. That's a product of struggling. You know, it's hard to make good, smooth shots when you're not confident that your ball is going to make the good line to the pocket. Important to make the spare and get a full count. The spares,
pin.
He makes that one, but he can shoot 200. It'll force Roth to get up and fill 19 in the 10th frame.
Best finish of this year, 15th last week outside Chicago, Vernon Hills, Illinois.
So it's 199 for Harsinena. If Roth were to spare in the 10th frame, he'd need 8 pins on his fill ball to shoot an even 200 and win by a pin. Similar situation to the last game where he needed a mark to win. Came in high last time on this lane.
Great look at it. There they go.
Mark Roth, 10th frame, clutch as ever. And good sportsmanship for Harsinena. Roth came back and Harsinena stuck out his hand, congratulating Mark. They're good friends. And I think that's one of the main differences on the senior tour is there's a lot more friendship involved. It's not quite as, I don't want to say, well, yeah, it's not quite as cutthroat. An emotional roller coaster for Roth as he starts out in command and then has the bad break and then a couple bad shots and then comes right back with great shots towards the end of the match.
3 in a row here to finish. He's got 7 for this match, and he will move on up the ladder again. Pin up. Won't matter though. His roll continues. 221 to 199 over John Harsinena. Winger down. Harsinena down as well. Can he keep climbing that ladder? We'll find out. Bob Chamberlain tells us after the first step on his approach, he feels better. The first step is very painful, even after getting the knee drain. His wife, Mary, telling us today the ordeal Bob has been through with all the knee troubles. But a win today would make a little bit of that feel better, I'm sure.
Now, something's distracted Mark. He was getting ready to throw the shot. Something off to his right. First thing he did was he told the tournament director, there is a 25-second shot clock. Players have to get the ball off their hand within that time frame. Roth working on a strike. Goes Brooklyn, crosses over, another break, trips the 6. Believe me, inside he's smiling. Look at that stare. He says, well, okay. Scary looking, huh?
That's the look of a fiery competitor. He'll
bet.
take a 5th strike of the game. Working on a max of 265, 41 pin lead as we speak.
Can he throw a good one after the lucky strike? No. And oh, but fortunate. 10 pin falls over. Now, there's a reason why these guys are having trouble hitting the pocket. It's because of the demanding lane condition, and the lanes continue to change. You watch this ball, it's going to hook high into the pocket. The 4 will stand, the 7 will stand, and the 10 was standing. Just does fall out. Easy 7. Easy spare for Roth.
How much does his great career, 34 PBA Tour wins, come into play now in terms of confidence and ability to make that last step?
Well, I think it helps as it gets down to the end of the game. He knows he's been there before. He knows he's done it before, and he's got to feel like he can still get it done.
Ten pin.
Chamberlain continuing to move left and the ball still hooks. They move left because they're looking for more oil at the front of the lane. But Chamberlain's not finding any. Profile view of Chamberlain. Now, he liked that ball off his hand, but it went right through the nose. With the spare.
Down goes the 10. Got his mark there. That's the pocket. That's a strike.
Now, right now, Chamberlain wishing he could bowl this whole game on lane 17 because he's been nothing but perfection. All strikes on the left-hand lane. No strikes on the right.
On that lane 17, Marshall. Third round match play. 217 to 199 win for Chamberlain over John Bennett. So he fared pretty well there. Getting to this television show as well.
Now they're going to have to figure something out with this right-hand lane. It looks like the front of the lane has just completely gone away. There's no oil to hold the ball back. They might want to take a page out of Harsinena's book and maybe loft the ball, get the ball further down the lane. Or they could switch balls. Lots of adjustments to be made.
Easy pick up with a spare. Working on a max of 232 now.
And the best for Chamberlain is 204, so Roth still comfortably in the lead. Right now, just looking for any kind of a spare or strike. Keep him in very good shape for the 10th frame.
Bob Chamberlain open frames on the 3rd and 5th. Sinking his chances dramatically.
Well, Roth leads just the 4-pin. And Chamberlain, if he could find a way to strike on the right-hand lane, he's finishing on his good lane. We take a look at Roth's ball coming in high. Headpin goes to the sideboard. It trips the 4. Well, it doesn't trip it. It just wiggles it.
Chamberlain knows he's got a big hill to climb. Down goes the 4-pin. An easy spare again for the Hall of Famer Mark Roth.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what kind of adjustment Chamberlain makes on lane 18. He's been moving with his feet and the ball in the lane. You can see he sort of gets up there and goes, well, I'm not really sure what to do, but I guess I've got to throw it. They're all educated guesses with the adjustments on the lanes.
37-pin deficit now for Bob Chamberlain.
Jesus Christ, he kept moving.
You can hear him talking. He's mic'd up. He says, my gosh, I keep moving, but it's not working. And sometimes you just can't move far enough left. You can't find any oil. So it has to be done with either changing balls, moving right, or lofting the ball way down the lane.
6-10 is down for another spare. He's told us the knee after the car accident in January in Reno was really feeling better. Up until about a month ago, he's been doing regular knee weightlifting and muscle strengthening exercises. Has an x-ray every month. His home physician in Detroit. There was no fracture revealed, any kind of troubles. Recently, a lot more pain. And you can see the limp now after getting the knee drained earlier today here in Seattle.
And once again, Bob Chamberlain strikes in the 2nd, 4th, 6th, 8th, now in the 10th. But if you can't strike on the other lane, if you have trouble, profoundly trouble with one lane, then you're dead in the water. He had splits in the 3rd and the 5th frames. Mary knows that any chances for Bob to win this game have passed.
184 the max score right now for him. Strong finish to the game in progress.
Well, it would have been easy for Chamberlain to get up in the 10th frame and just go through the motions, but he showing his mettle, being a true pro, getting up, throwing great shots, even though that man right there, Mark Roth, has won this match.
Great finish for Chamberlain. He's going to fall short, though.
Well, that's a lot.
Roth will advance on to take on the #1 seed.
That's a lot of strikes. He had 7 strikes that game, Dave, and not even close. You think Mark can get 2 pins to win this match?
Chances are pretty good.
Yeah, chances are real good, and there's your winner. But he's still struggling on this lane, so it'll be interesting to see what he does in the next match against Neff and see how Neff combats this right-hand lane. Whoever figures it out is going to be the winner.
We shall see. Here in Seattle, Mark Roth will take on the #1 seed, Steve Neff from Florida. Roth has been fantastic, climbing from the 5th seed all the way up the ladder. The #1 seed, Neff, awaits in our next match from Seattle, Washington. Hey. Mark Roth, as we talked about, disposing of 3 pretty good bowlers.
Yeah, and he's had to deal with the transition of the lanes. He's had some good breaks. He's made some great shots. Opposition has been struggling, especially, boy, Chamberlain last game struck every time on lane 17, couldn't even come close on 18. Lane 18 will certainly tell the tale in the championship game.
Switch for Chamberlain. Open frames on 3 and 5 did him in. Now can Roth do it? Make some personal history. 34 career PBA titles, none on the senior tour, never from the 5th seed all the way up the ladder. Here's his chance.
And Neff making Roth start on lane 17 so that Roth will have to finish on the tougher lane, lane 18. Good strategy.
Good start.
Good start for Roth. Coming in light. That's a high percentage shot for the pros. Keep coming in a little light. And we'll see a little different form from Neff. Slow approach. Very meticulous. And beautiful reach down the lane.
Watching a while. And the 7 stays up.
Well, came close. Take a look at the form of Steve Neff. Great push away, great body position, shoulder high. Look at the good knee bend. The long reach down the lane. Hallmark of his game.
His best finish so far this year, 3rd Vernon Hills, Illinois on the senior tour. Look out, an open frame as the 7 stays up.
And he switched to a hard ball so he could go right at it, and it's still hooked into the gutter. Ball's just going to fall into the gutter, leaving the 7 pin. And once again, another good break for Mark Roth.
He told us today after his qualifying was through, he was done with a match play. It might take a break or 2 to get him all the way up. Wasn't expecting that much from the 5th seed, but he's in good shape now. Can he take advantage of this huge break early?
Neff on lane 17. Lots of strikes on lane 17. We'll see Mark Roth now up on the more difficult lane, 18. There's the proprietors, Ruth, Dave, and Rod Pardee. Trust me, they're right behind Mark, behind his left shoulder.
They've all done a fantastic job, very hospitable to us. Great crew here at Seattle, hosting our great TV crew.
Roth able to tickle him down. There's another good look at it. There's Dave on the left and Rod Pardee on the right, and they certainly have been very, very hospitable. As we take a look at the reaction of Mark Roth, that light hit, yes, I think I like it.
Early 21-pin lead. Back-to-back strikes to start out.
Needs to take advantage of this lane. Lane 17, the easier of the 2 for the 3-bagger. He pulled it, and he gets away with it once again. He trips the 4-pin. I'll tell you what, bowler's best friend is having a little bit of area to where you don't have to splice the boards. Mark knows it's coming in high, but bingo. Sometimes it's just your day, Dave, and today it looks like it's Mark Roth.
Steve Neff has had himself a great 2001 so far. Leader in tour average. 3 senior PBA titles to his credit.
Came in light last time on lane 18. shot for Neff. And that ball got down the lane nicely.
Much better that time on 18. He's 1-1 as a leader coming in to the championship TV matches. 98 in Beaverton, Oregon. Did win, though. He was after that loss in Beaverton at the PBA National Championships in 99. First time since then he's been the 1 seed. How tough is it to wait all day?
Well, it is difficult. And plus, you know, the man who wins a semifinal match is always geared up. He's always more locked in. So it takes a little bit of doing as a #1 seed, but that's where we all want to be. What a comeback for Neff. Boy, it's so important when you do make a mistake, and Steve made a mental error by missing the 7-pin, to put it behind you. You still have the 9 frames left. Shot of Neff's ball on lane 17. Roth sticking at the line, and once again showing a little bit of magic. How about a lot of magic? There's Roth's success factor, and right now, boy, he's having a lot of success. He's had 9 strikes on both the lanes. Interesting, he's had just as much success on the right lane as the left. He's made all his single pins, and that only problem was the 7-10 split that he left.
4 straight strikes to start, make it 5 in a row, and the lead expands.
And you can see that Mark is not, you're not seeing a lot of emotion right now. He's holding it back. He knows it's going to be a long game. Got 5 more frames. Don't get excited too soon. Don't lose the energy level. Now, Neff's made the adjustment on lane 18. He's throwing the ball much harder and straighter. Worked well last time. Well, he trips out the 4-pin, but the 10-pin would not fall. Switches balls to go hard and straight for the 10.
Four-time winner on the National PBA Tour. It's the 2nd most in our 5 finalist field. Of course, Mark Roth well ahead in that category, 34 championships, but never on the senior tour. Today could be his day.
Neff had a shot clock violation in the last time he was up on lane 17. So he does take a little more time than the other players. Have to be careful. If he gets another one, I believe that's a $100 fine. Ten-pin for Neff. And sometimes, you know, I've said it earlier, sometimes it's just your day. You know, Mark Roth, and winning 34 titles on the national tour, he also had a lot of tournaments that he could have won that didn't go his way. So could this be a little bit of payback for some of those?
Takes up the 10-pin, but the early open frame puts him down at this point by 33 pins. To the man with 22 career 300 games. He's had a great start with 5 straight strikes. Can he continue? We'll find out next.
We're
2001 senior tour. In terms of 300 games, there have been 15 this year in 6 events. None, though, in TV finals. Last year, 35 perfect games were rolled, but none on the championship day on television. How about some history, Mr. Roth?
What a great shot on lane 18. Mark with 6 strikes in a row.
Extra 10,000 if he is able to get the 300 game, and 10,000 to win this tournament, which will be his first ever senior title.
Well, Roth still thinking about putting more distance between himself and Steve Neff. You don't start thinking about 300 until about the 9th frame, 8th, 9th frame.
43 pin lead. Oh, yeah.
Now, Roth has shot 299 on television. I believe he's done it twice. Now, Mark let this ball go, and he knew it was going to be in the pocket. Yes, it carries. Determination, you're looking at it.
High game this week in Seattle of 269 for Roth. Low way down at 152. He's looking good.
Solid 4-pin for Neff. He smiles. I think he realizes right now that it was a great week, but it's going to be a second-place finish to the great Mark Roth. You have to lose to somebody, I guess. Not too bad.
Second place would take home $5,500 of prize money. For today, the leader, in this case, it was Steve Neff, was 3-1. That was the record for the top seed heading into the TV championship. That is about to go down one notch today. Neff has been consistent.
Yeah. I think it's a fortunate break on lane 17, but probably just a little late. Roth wanting a re-rack on lane 18. Didn't like the way the pins were set. The pros, what they're looking at when they ask for re-racks, they're looking at the right-handers looking at the 1-3 pocket. Might have been a little bit open, might have been a little bit closed. This for 8 in a row, and that much closer to the perfect 300.
Just a rookie on the senior tour, 50 in April. Does he have another in him? The streak is over.
Yeah, the streak is over, and now probably an open frame for Roth. He sticks at the line in the 8th frame. Watch when he slides or doesn't. You can see that the balance is lost. That's happened a couple of times, in fact, more than a few times for Mark. And he takes just the 1 pin. Now no longer a chance for 300. 266, the best that Roth can do. And if Mark were to throw another open frame, Steve Neff would be back in the ball game. Neff can shoot 236. If Mark were to get spares in the 9th and 10th, he'd be in the 240. So all he needs are marks.
30-pin cushion now, but that can shrink quickly. No open frames. That's the key.
Another one. Leaves the 9-pin. That's okay. Needs to make the 9. That shouldn't be any problem, but he is finishing on the tough right lane. Roth playing around the 17 board. The ball starts hooking in high. 4-pin gets tripped out, almost goes into the 9, but 9 stands.
Picks it up without a problem.
Now for Neff, he must strike here. If he doesn't strike out, Mark Roth will be your winner. And even if he does strike out, Mark Roth will still have a good chance to win.
Won't happen. The clincher for Roth. A win for the first time on the senior tour.
And it's got to feel really good for Mark, who has struggled in recent years, and now it's almost like a rebirth coming out on the senior tour, having a second chance at a career that was great for so many years on the national tour.
He's 23rd on the senior money list coming in. Just a couple events, of course, he's played as a senior since surpassing 50 years of age. That's going to jump dramatically after today's effort here in Seattle.
And I know that Neff is disappointed that he didn't win this tournament, but I can't think of anybody that wouldn't feel good for Mark Roth to win out here on the senior tour. Neff just trying to finish up the game, get out of the way, leave the moment for Roth.
Picks it up on lane 17. Roth has this one wrapped up. 4-time PBA Player of the Year. 77 through 79 in his heyday. Again in 1984, when he was so dominant on the national tour. Another trophy for the mantle. That finishes with a 204. 234 for Mark Roth. Climbing the ladder for the first time in his storied career. He is a winner on the Senior PBA Tour here in Seattle, Washington. Ron Winger, John Harsinena, Bob Chamberlain, Steve Neff, the top seed, all go down to the right arm of Hall of Famer Mark Roth. He wins on the Senior PBA Tour and is joined now by our Marshall Holman.
And here we are with a check presentation. Dave Pardee with the check and his brother Rod with the trophy for Mark Roth for his first PBA senior event.
Mark, what a win. What a week this week. Congratulations for your first win on the tour. $10,000.
And Mark, as you get your trophy,
Yes.
Mark, you had some good breaks. You had some great breaks. What did you find out there?
Well, it seemed like the more I lofted it and tried to hit it, get the ball down the lane, trip fours, I carried everything just about. When I needed it, I carried it. Just like carrying you years ago.
Oh, you had to bring that up, did you? Well, I offer my congratulations, Mark Roth, the first time.